Good afternoon, graduands, friends, and honoured guests. My name is Donald McEwen, and I'm chaplain to the university. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this graduation ceremony at the University of St Andrews on this exciting day for you. Presiding at today's graduation ceremony is the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dame Sally Mapstone. This ceremony is taking place in the Younger Hall, officially opened in 1929. The Younger Hall is the university's venue for graduations and most formal ceremonies. In a few moments, the academic procession will enter the hall. To welcome the academic procession, St Salvator's Chapel Choir will lead us in singing the Gaudiamus. Please do join in. The words can be found in your programme. Now, should the fire alarm sound, please remain seated. The alarm will be silenced and staff will immediately investigate the cause of the activation. Should an evacuation be necessary, the alarm will then sound continuously and you will be advised of the need to evacuate. Staff will direct you accordingly. Please follow staff direction and leave the hall by the most appropriate exit. At the end of the graduation ceremony, all our new graduates will join the academic procession, leaving the Younger Hall and walking along North Street and entering St Salvator's quadrangle through the archway. To supporters, please wait until all our new graduates have left the hall. Ushers will then show you to the nearest exits, and outside you will be directed to the quad, where you will be able to join our new graduates. Please ensure that your mobile phone is switched off, or at least is set to silent. You are welcome to take pictures and video footage, but please stay in your seat to do so. And now, to capture this unique moment, our official photographer will take a picture now of those graduating today before the ceremony begins.
Good afternoon. Do you like my graduation camera? Amazing, isn't it? I can see everybody in the auditorium, so I want to see all your smiles, especially you lot in the front. Are we ready? Come on, make it easy for me. Perfect. Okay, a couple more. Awesome. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoy the graduation ceremony, and as you are able, please rise for the Gaudiamus. Omnipotens et aeterni Deus, actiones nostras omnes aspirando praeveni, et adjuvando prosequere, ut cuncta nostra operatio, et praesertim hoc quod nunc agredimur opus, a te incipiat, et per te queptum finiatur, quatenus sanctum nomen tuum glorificemus, et misericordia tua vitam aeternam consequamur, per Iesum Christum, Dominum nostrum. Amen.
Please be seated. Good afternoon, everybody. It is my happy duty as Principal and Vice-Chancellor to welcome you to this summer graduation ceremony at the University of St. Andrews. Graduation is the highlight of our academic year. At these ceremonies, students are awarded their degrees and people of distinction are honoured. We orient our academic calendar around these celebrations, and they are a tradition that speaks to the heart of our institutional mission. I am delighted that all of you can share in the joy of today's ceremony. It is also a pleasure to welcome you to the Younger Hall, a fitting setting for the celebration of your achievements. This well-loved venue has been the home of our graduation ceremonies since its initial opening in 1929. The Younger Hall has been extensively renovated in recent years. The refurbishment has revitalised this space for the next century of its existence, whilst ensuring that the entire building is fully accessible for all its users. The building's layout and decorations have been refreshed but are intrinsically unchanged, and the shape of the ceremonies remains the same. Today's graduands will cross the Younger Hall stage in a style that unites them with the students who, for almost a century, crossed it before them, and also, of course, with the students who crossed our stages in the 5 centuries before that. The broader graduation tradition which we observe today has indeed taken place at St. Andrews since the second decade of the 15th century, when the university was founded, and some of the rituals that were established in the 1400s remain an integral part of the ceremony. These rituals honour our history and signify the assumption of each graduand's place within an institution that has done as much as any other to shape our modern world. We are Scotland's first and foremost university, the 3rd oldest in the English-speaking world and one of the 25 oldest still operating. Across 611 years, students and academics have gathered here to build and disseminate knowledge, and their ambition has proved resilient to the challenges mounted against them. The religious and political regimes that have reared and crumbled, the pandemics and wars that have beaten at the doors. Ours is not, however, a story of survival, but of leadership. St. Andrews has been at the vanguard of political, cultural, and intellectual development since our inception, and our people have steered the hands of monarchs and parliaments since our earliest days. The importance of our town predates the university's foundation. St. Andrews was the ecclesiastical capital of medieval Scotland. The 12th century cathedral, the remnants of which will look upon the graduation procession at the end of this ceremony, was the largest and most revered building of its time. It was a centre for pilgrimage, played home to Scotland's senior bishop, and was consecrated upon completion in the presence of Robert the Bruce in 1318. University instruction commenced at St. Andrews in May 1410, when our founder, Bishop Henry Wardlaw, invited a delegation of scholars led by Lawrence of Lindores, a philosopher of renown, to the town. and university status was formalized when Pope Benedict XIII issued papal bulls from Peniscola in August 1413, which were met by great jubilation when carried into the town the following February. These papal bulls granted the university the authority to award degrees in the faculties of arts, theology, canon and civil law, and medicine. In the 2 centuries following its inception, the university boasted a critical mass of strength in the faculties of arts and divinity. However, it did not flourish in the sciences or mathematics until the second half of the 17th century, 250 years after its foundation. Even then, the science of the university was confined to mathematics and natural philosophy until the end of the 18th century. By the middle of the 16th century, the University of St. Andrews consisted of 3 collegiate societies, St. Salvator's and St. Leonard's colleges, which were dedicated to the teaching of philosophy and the arts, and St. Mary's College, which focused on theology. The professors were regents, teachers in charge of the same group of students during the 4 years of the curriculum. However, in 1579, when the university was reconstituted following the Protestant Reformation, it appointed for the first time professors who were specialists on specific subjects, including a professor of mathematics attached to St. Salvator's College. But mathematics was not especially well thought of in the university, and its professors were considered an unwanted burden. I should stress here, of course, how much times have changed since then. Mathematical teaching and research at St. Andrews evolved in 1668 with the appointment of James Gregory, a Scottish mathematician, astronomer, and inventor, who was one of the 3 founders of calculus, inventor of the Gregorian telescope, and the man who discovered the principles of diffraction gratings. At the university, Gregory carried out important research in the fields of mathematics and astronomy and modernized the teaching of these subjects, introducing the latest developments and theories from each area. He corresponded with leading natural philosophers in England and the continent, and was instrumental in introducing the ideas of the scientific revolution to the community of the University of St. Andrews, though not always to immediate acceptance. While James Gregory made a major impact on the subjects being taught and researched by the university, he also left an important mark on the face of the town. In 1673, he mathematically established a meridian line, a line circling the Earth from pole to pole, along which the time is the same, passing through St. Andrews. Gregory's was the first ever non-ecclesiastical astronomical meridian line in Europe, the longest and most accurate of its kind for many years to come. Gregory conceived of his line almost 200 years before the Greenwich Meridian line was established and adopted as the world's official prime meridian. St. Andrews, and not Greenwich, is therefore the place where time began. To mark his meridian, Gregory carved it into the floor of his laboratory, now part of the King James Library. In 2014, a brass meridian line was installed in the pavement on South Street, outside the library, alongside an accompanying plaque to commemorate Gregory's achievement. In the light of this piece of our history, we might ask ourselves, had Professor James Gregory not passed away only 3 years later in 1675, a month before his 37th birthday, would we be running on ST-AMT, St. Andrews Mean Time, and not GMT? And what difference would this really make? Well, 12 minutes of difference, to be precise. Currently, all time in the world is calculated using a line passing through the Royal Observatory at Greenwich. Noon on this line is known as 12 o'clock GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. As St. Andrews is further west than Greenwich, the time at Gregory's Meridian is 12 minutes behind GMT. So next time you are running late, you can make the excuse that you are simply operating on St. Andrew's time. While his meridian line has only been commemorated in recent years, Gregory has long occupied a significant place in the university's history as the first holder of its Regius Chair of Mathematics. A Regius Professor is literally a King's Professor and holds a chair that historically was endowed by a monarch, with James Gregory being appointed by King Charles II of England. Now one of the oldest and most prestigious chairs in the United Kingdom, the St. Andrews Regius Chair of Mathematics, is today held by Professor Kenneth Falconer, who was appointed by authority of the warrant signed by both Her Majesty the late Queen and the then First Minister of Scotland in 2018. I think it is safe to say that our maths department is one of the university's crown jewels. But more seriously, the inventiveness and the openness to new ideas that cross both disciplinary and national boundaries, modelled by Gregory, continue to be fundamental values of the staff and students who 350 years later follow his line across South Street. Returning now to today's ceremony and the rituals which connect us to our forebears. The first of these you have already witnessed when St. Salvator's Chapel Choir initiated proceedings with a rendition of the Gaudeamus, and the university chaplain, the Reverend Dr. Donald McEwen, delivered the opening prayer. As Vice-Chancellor, I preside over these ceremonies and am invested with the authority to award degrees, the presentation of which will immediately follow this introduction. The conferral of awards at bachelor's, master's, and doctoral level will constitute the core of this ceremony. I will confer degrees both on those many students who are present and on those who are unable to attend and who are thus graduated in absentia. As that phrase indicates, these rituals are conducted partly in Latin, following St. Andrew's tradition. I will call upon the deans of the respective faculties and ask them to present each graduand for their award in turn. And I will then confer the degree with Latin phrases, one of which, for example, translates as, "I raise you to the rank of Master of Arts, and to symbolize this, I place upon you this cap." To most, though, I will simply say, "Et super te," meaning, "and upon you too." The precise moment of graduation occurs when the graduate's cap, or birrettum, touches the head of the graduand. This academic cap has been used in every ceremony since December 1696, when it was acquired from a St. Andrew's tailor, and it symbolizes the ascension of our graduands into graduates and their assumption of an equal place within our alumni community. When the conferrals are complete, St. Salvator's Chapel Choir will return to deliver a musical interlude, and we are thankful both to the choir and their director, Claire Innes-Hopkins, for the felicity they bring to this occasion. We will then proceed directly to one of the highlights of these ceremonies, the presentation of honorary awards, with the conferral of an honorary doctorate upon today's guest of honor, Professor Véronique Tadjon. To close our ceremony, it is tradition to invite a member of the university to address our new graduates, wish them well as they progress to the next stage of their lives, and offer some final words of inspiration and congratulation. Today's guest speaker is Professor Ian Burnell from the School of Physics and Astronomy. The ceremony will then conclude with the benediction and the graduation procession. At St. Andrews, the academics and professional staff who have supported you, our graduands, are immensely proud of your achievements. But this ritual does not mark the end of your association with St. Andrews. You are joining a vital community of alumni who have positively shaped the world around them for 611 years and who support one another in the present. So while you are graduating, you are not leaving our community, but taking the next step in your St. Andrews experience. And it is our sincere hope that you will continue to engage as a St. Andrean throughout your life. Decanus Facultatis Artium.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Master of Arts with Honours, Alistair Barton.
Te ad gradum magistri artium promovio, cuius re in symbolum super te hoc beretum impono.
Ash Curry Machado.
Et super te.
Alice Hill.
Et super te.
Lauren McAndrew.
Et super te.
Emily Moreland.
Et super te.
Olivia O'Donnell.
Et super te.
James Malione.
Et super te.
Hannah El Hilali.
Et super te.
Isabel Marsh.
Et super te.
Tyler Moffat.
Et super te.
Serena Sandweiss.
Et super te.
Maya Thompson.
Et super te.
Beth Ann Chalmers.
Et super te.
Kevin Landers.
Et super te.
Irene Georgakopoulos Usia.
Et super te.
Alexandra Heritage.
Et super te.
Francis Yamamoto.
Et super te.
Boo Mead.
Et super te.
Edmund Petty.
Et super te.
Gabriela Macias.
Et super te.
Caitlin Rose Brock.
Et super te.
Ryan Gross.
Et super te.
Kate Kinloch.
Et super te.
Stella Jopling.
Et super te.
Erica Ostlander.
Et super te.
Andre Novak.
Et super te.
Jake Amos.
Et super te.
Owen Baldwin.
Et super te.
Yuan Bao.
Et super te.
Aidan Barber.
Et Superte.
Emma Betts.
Et Superte.
Seth Birkinshaw.
Et Superte.
Jack Borthwick.
Et Superte.
Alistair Bowyer.
Et Superte.
Archie Day.
Et Superte.
Katrina Duffield.
Et Superte.
Helen Hale.
Et Superte.
James Harrington Rutherford.
Et Superte.
Lily Holsworth.
Et Superte.
Joanna Jamal.
Et Superte.
Alexander Coe.
Et Superte.
Luke Lawrence.
Et Superte.
Henry Lozinski.
Et Superte.
Angus Marshall.
Et Superte.
Esme Mackenzie.
Et Superte.
James McNinch.
Et Superte.
Henry Mould.
Et Superte.
Moss Noble.
Et Superte.
Nu Rashbas.
Et Superte.
William Ringham.
Et Superte.
Sarah Routley.
Et Superte.
Ollie Rowlands.
Et Superte.
Anna Smith.
Et Superte.
Josephine Smith.
Et Superte.
Delara Smith.
Et Superte.
Lauren Smythe.
Et Superte.
Yu Shin Song.
Et Superte.
Jasmine Sykes.
Et Superte.
Gabrielle Toribor.
Et Superte.
Isabel Wakoma.
Et Superte.
Wilson Chu.
Et Superte.
Hao Yen Zhong.
Et Superte.
Sean Beckford Young.
Et Superte.
Owen Blackburn.
Et Superte.
Nicholas Chung.
Et Superte.
Sue Guo.
Et Superte.
Christina Kutt.
Et Superte.
Van Lambie.
Et Superte.
East Lee.
Et Superte.
Shuzin Lo.
Et Superte.
Jing Ma.
Et Superte.
Ian Rizowski.
Et Superte.
Elizabeth Smith.
Et Superte.
Shinran Jo.
Et Superte.
Sophie Lowe.
Et Superte.
Victor Mendoza Galvez.
Et Superte.
Rosie Cromwell.
Et Superte.
Kate Jenkinson.
Et Superte.
Caroline Vestergaard.
Et Superte.
Harriet Brown.
Et Superte.
Oscar Cooper.
Et Superte.
Zoe Hemming Clark.
Et Superte.
Xander Mohan.
Et Superte.
Arabelle Banwell.
Et Superte.
Jamie Campbell.
Et Superte.
Molly Garrett.
Et Superte.
Lucy Gorman.
Et Superte.
Alex Hargreaves.
Et Superte.
Sky Hervis Jones.
Et Superte.
Mallory Legg.
Et Superte.
Paul McCarthy.
Et Superte.
Tamika McLeay.
Et Superte.
Gabriella Meacham.
Et Superte.
Iona Mitchell.
Et superte.
Aliza Myers.
Et superte.
Josephine Nunn.
Et superte.
Emma Porter.
Et superte.
Eleanor Reid.
Et superte.
Penelope Reid.
Et superte.
Isabel Turner.
Et superte.
Natasha Verma.
Et superte.
Elizabeth Shia.
Et superte.
Gino Giunisi.
Et superte.
Lucy Brown.
Et superte.
Evie Snedden.
Et superte.
Katie Donaldson.
Et superte.
Sydney Reid.
Et superte.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Andrew Dickey, Archie Eady-Gur, Emily Gibb, Rory Gibb.
Eos absentes magistros artium renuncium.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the postgraduate diploma in absentia on Mariana Godino Castagnon, Zafira Lawal, Benjamin Main.
Eos absentes diplomatos renuncium.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Master of Letters, Mohsen Ghaffari Kaiyai.
Te ad gradum magistri literarum promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc beretum impono.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree of Master of Research in absentia on Isabel Curitanus Zihuanjo.
Eos absentes magistros investigationis renuncium.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree of Master of Philosophy in absentia on K.U. Chen Jack McGrath.
Eos absentes magistros philosophiae renuncium.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Logical Disagreement and Epistemological Study, Frederick Anderson.
Te ad gradum doctoris philosophiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc beretum impono. Congratulations, well done.
For a thesis entitled Indeterminacy and the Law of the Excluded Middle, Jan Paul Engler.
Et superte.
For a thesis entitled Voluntarism and Virtue in Hume's Moral Philosophy, Enrico Galvani.
Et superte.
For a thesis entitled Essays on Indiscernibility, Matteo Nizzardo.
Et superte. Congratulations, Matteo.
For a thesis entitled The Mark of the Cognitive, Niccolo Aimone Pisano.
Et super te.
For a thesis entitled Watch and Learn, Film and the British Educational Life, 1895 to 1910, Anushruth Ramakrishnan Agrawal.
Et super te.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Nick Cuthbert.
Eum absentem doctorum philosophiae renuncio. Decanus Facultatis Scientiae.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours, Tegan Aitken.
Te ad gradum baccalaureae scientiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum super te hoc veretum impono.
Vanessa Chikran.
Et super te.
Ali May Gorini.
Et super te.
Annie Keir McKenna.
Et super te.
Brandon Mann.
Et super te.
Daniel Maskey.
Et super te.
James McCrom.
Et super te.
Rachel McGregor.
Et super te.
Hannah Menezes.
Et super te.
Isabel Millwood.
Et super te.
Wing Pun.
Et super te.
Cameron Reid.
Et super te.
Ewan Robb.
Et super te.
Peter Robertson.
Et super te.
Mila Role de Fougerolles.
Et super te.
Elizabeth Swain.
Et super te.
Thomas Tunstall.
Et super te.
Frederick Hasselgren.
Et super te.
Oliver Staples.
Et super te.
Edward Appleton.
Et super te.
Josie Ball.
Et super te.
Anastasia Siban.
Et super te.
Adam Davis.
Et super te.
Lila Dean.
Et supete.
Laurelie Dixon.
Et supete.
Nikita Fedorov.
Et supete.
Samuel Jackson.
Et supete.
Olivia King.
Et supete.
Lloyd Laurent.
Et supete.
Daisy Matthews.
Et supete.
Adele McDade.
Et supete.
Harry McLennan.
Et supete.
Nari Morad.
Et supete.
Josh Patterson.
Et supete.
Juntian Pang.
Et supete.
Holly Ryan.
Et supete.
Joe Sinclair.
Et supete.
Ruri Stephen.
Et supete.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Alistair Batty.
Eum absentem baccalaureum scientiae renuncio.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Master in Physics with Honours, J. Anderson.
Te ad gardum magistri in philosophia naturale promovio, cuius rei in symbolum supete hoc veretum impono.
Carol Ballinger.
Et supete.
Hannah Feinbaum Rathor.
Et supete.
Cameron Gregor.
Et supete.
George Hendry.
Et supete.
Kristen Hopley.
Et supete.
Laura Justfung.
Et supete.
Michael Lay.
Et supete.
Ryan McGuinness.
Et supete.
Katie Miles.
Et supete.
Jennifer Roger.
Et supete.
Marilyn Rosenquist.
Et supete.
Adam Rotherow.
Et supete.
Marissa Samuel.
Et supete.
Holly Saw.
Et Supete.
Harriet White.
Et Supete.
Trisha Bidhay.
Et Supete.
Love Gupta.
Et Supete.
Mateo Guzman Subiria.
Et Supete.
Pavani Kumar.
Et Supete.
Beth Laybourne.
Et Supete.
Joseph Meni.
Et Supete.
Patrick Miller.
Et Supete.
Molly Renton.
Et Supete.
Gerard Trinio.
Et Supete.
Leela Bata.
Et Supete.
Finley Campbell.
Et Supete.
Lachlan Dufour Kennett.
Et Supete.
Joshua Edmondson.
Et Supete.
Aidan Higgins.
Et Supete.
Dylan Houston.
Et Supete.
Shreyas Jeki Venkatesh Baralu.
Et Supete.
Peter Meiklejohn.
Et Supete.
Ulster Oskasup.
Et Supete.
James Wallace.
Et Supete.
Maria Yates.
Et Supete.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Liam Anderson.
Eam absentum magistrum in philosophia naturali renuncio.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree of Master of Science in absentia on Vanessa Anusha.
Eam absentum magistrum scientiae renuncio.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Scanning Tunnelling Microscopy of Magnetic van der Waals Materials, Olivia Armitage.
Te ad gradum doctoris philosophiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc beretum impono.
For a thesis entitled Tracing the Chemistry of High Energy Processes in Planetary Atmospheres, Patrick Bart.
Et Supete.
For a thesis entitled Advanced Material Platforms for Holographic Applications of Photonic Metasurfaces, Mohammed Biaboniford Hossein Abadi.
Et Supete.
For a thesis entitled The Development and Use of Elastic Resonators to Study Biomechanics in Soft-Bodied Locomotion, Jonathan Booth.
Et Superte.
For a thesis entitled Investigating Charge Extraction Dynamics in Hybrid Perovskite Solar Cells Using Time-Resolved Spectroscopy, Peter Brown.
Et Superte.
For a thesis entitled Coulomb Blockade Thermometry-Based Nanocalorimetry and its Application to Cerium Rhodamine 2 Arsenic 2, Mari Cole.
Et Superte.
For a thesis entitled Imaging the Effects of Magnetic Proximity Coupling on the Electronic Structure of Transition Metal Dichalcogenides, Brendan Edwards.
Et Superte.
For a thesis entitled From Ohmic to Non-Local Transport in Dilophocyte Metals, Mikhail Morovitz.
Et Superte.
For a thesis entitled Enhanced Detection of Explosives Using Organic Semiconductors, Edward Ogugu.
Et Superte. Many congratulations, Edward.
For a thesis entitled Under Pressure Measuring Nanometer Distance Changes in Biomolecules, Hannah Russell.
Et Superte. Many congratulations, Hannah.
For a thesis entitled Studying the Electronic Structure of the Polar Surfaces of Dilophocytes Using Microarpus, Giza Roxanne Zeman.
Et Superte.
For a thesis entitled Advances in Electron Paramagnetic Resonance Through Synthetic Chemistry, Michael Taylor.
Et Superte.
For a thesis entitled Hyperspectral Confocal Imaging of Whispering Gallery Mode Microlasers for Bio and Ecophotonic Applications, Vera Titsa.
Et Superte. Congratulations.
For a thesis entitled Holographic Metasurfaces for Imaging, Trapping, Sensing, and Antennas Applications, Jianling Jiao.
Et Superte. Congratulations.
For a thesis entitled Methodology Development of High Sensitivity Pulsed Electroparamagnetic Resonance and Dynamic Nuclear Polarization, Yujia Zhao.
Et Superte. Congratulations.
For a thesis entitled Imaging and Manipulating the Band Structure of Niobium diselenide and calcium rutinate 327, Angela Jovanovic.
Et Superte.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Piper Fowler Wright, Jack Petty, Rose War.
Eus absentes doctores philosophiae renuncio. I call upon Professor Nikki Hitchcott of the School of Modern Languages.
Vice-Chancellor, it is my privilege to present for the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, Professor Véronique Tadjo. Véronique Tadjo is an award-winning writer from Francophone Africa, whose works have been translated into many languages, including English, Japanese, Korean, and Swedish, as well as several languages of the African continent. She is also an illustrator, an artist, a translator, and an academic, having most recently been visiting professor at St. Anne's College, Oxford, and at Wits University in South Africa. Véronique is a strong advocate for the creative arts, especially literature, as a force for social, political, and environmental change. Born in Paris, Véronique grew up in Abidjan, the de facto capital of the West African nation of Côte d'Ivoire. She earned a BA in English from the University of Abidjan and a doctorate from the Sorbonne in Paris in African American literature and civilization. In 1983, Véronique went to Howard University in Washington, D.C. as a Fulbright scholar. The following year, she published her first collection of poetry, Latérite, Red Earth. It was also in the 1980s that Véronique started writing and illustrating books for children. One of these, Mami Wata and the Monster, has now been published in 8 dual-language editions and was listed as one of the 100 best African books of the 20th century at the Zimbabwe International Book Fair. Alongside her books for young people, Véronique has published 8 outstanding fictional works for adults, most of them now available in English translation, and 3 collections of poetry. 2 of her recent works tackle particularly difficult moments in the history of our shared humanity. The Shadow of Imana is a creative response to the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. In the Company of Men is a fictional commentary on the Ebola epidemic that struck West Africa in 2014. Véronique's books are studied in universities around the world, including here at St. Andrews. She has received numerous literary honors for her writing. In 2022, she was awarded the top prize for fiction in the Los Angeles Times Book Awards for In the Company of Men. Narrated by multiple storytellers, including a bat, the Ebola virus, and a baobab tree, this brilliant novel resonates strongly with our recent experiences of living through the COVID-19 pandemic. Originally published in French in 2017, it was described by the judges as gripping and prescient, unlike anything we've ever read before. This extraordinary book confirms Véronique Tadjo's status as a world-leading woman writer from Francophone Africa. Only a small number of Francophone African authors have known success beyond the French-speaking world, and very few of them are women. Vice-Chancellor, in recognition of her major contribution to world literature and the arts, I invite you to confer the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, on Professor Véronique Tadjo.
Te ad gradum doctoris literarum honoris causa promovio, cuius rei in symbolum super te hoc veretum impono. Very much. Congratulations. It's an honor for us.
Yes. Allow me to say a few words. First, thank you very much to St. Andrews University and for the honor and for the opportunity to share this very special day with you. The coincidence is too big for me not to say it. My new novel is about students. I swear. You will see it yourself one day. So it's about two students. One is called Flora, and the other one is called Ayanda. And they're studying at the University of Abidjan, and they live the life of all students. That means friendship, loves, disappointments, and joys. And it just happens that they are caught up in a major crisis in the country. So I leave you to imagine what could be a major crisis in a country. But it's so dangerous that they have to flee. So Flora flees all the way to South Africa, and Ayanda has to flee to the north of the Côte d'Ivoire, where she's from. So the story is about showing how they manage to reconstruct their life, how they overcome challenges, because unfortunately, as you know, life is made of joy and hardship, and we have to be able to deal with both. And they make it through. And again, believe it or not, it ends with a graduation. Yes, and so there's something very hopeful about it. And I just want to wish you the best in your life, and to follow your heart and your conscience, and to make a better world, because it's entirely in your hands. Thank you very much. Okay.
I call upon Professor Ian Burnell of the School of Physics and Astronomy.
Vice-Chancellor, special guests, colleagues, and of course, our wonderful graduates. Congratulations to all new graduates. It is wonderful to be able to share this special day with you and with your family and guests. You have succeeded in doing something I never achieved, attending your graduation ceremony. My mother eventually forgave me, I think. For a natural introvert, the idea of parading across the stage appeared daunting. Now, here we are, and I'm honored to be able to share graduation with you and with generations of our students. When I was asked to give this graduation address, I was at a loss for what I could say to provide a summary of what a degree means for our students. Those of you who know me well will be aware that in such circumstances, I like to think while walking. I am grateful that our building is a quadrangle to avoid the impression of pacing back and forth. The other aspect that helps creativity and decision-making is perspective. That has led me over the years to hill walking in the wilds of Scotland and the UK. 6 weeks ago, I was participating in a 60-mile event through the Yorkshire Dales, seemingly including every hill they could find while avoiding most paths. This might seem like an extreme way of seeking inspiration, but it can work. So there I was at about 3 a.m., some 40 miles in, and at 500 meters of elevation. The temperature was near zero, it was dark, windy, and about to rain, then snow. Oh, and I was knee-deep in a bog, and unsure where I was going. I must admit that at this point, I was at a bit of a low. My initial enthusiasm and ability to run had been left behind some 20 miles back. The end was nowhere in sight, and dawn was still a few hours away. Sheer determination or stubbornness, on top of training and preparation, is what kept me going. My brain was thinking, why am I doing this when I could be happily in bed? That and boy, could I use a cup of tea with 6 sugars. Then I realized that what I was feeling was eerily similar to what most of you will have experienced at some point during your degree. University inspires and stretches students, but it almost inevitably includes some harder times where we question our goals and if we can achieve them. For students from my school, that typically means junior honors, where students have to dig a bit deeper, develop a new determination in addition to their enthusiasm, and at some points forego their creature comforts in order to complete that lab project or assignment. As a professor of astrophysics, I feel I should digress here and provide a snippet of what astrophysics is about. I could talk about dark matter or dark energy, the origin of our sun, or the fate of our universe. Instead, I will say a few words about energy. Stars are unfathomably large and far apart, yet gravity makes them interact. They are often found in groups called clusters, and frequently have close partners they spend their lifetimes with. An interesting aspect of gravity in astrophysics is that it can provide a huge energy source, much higher than anything we can achieve on Earth. In fact, it powers the brightest sources in our universe. As an object moves around under the influence of gravity, be it a star in a cluster or a planet around a star, it has lots of energy in the form of its motions. If you remove some of this energy, it will fall towards the center and actually speed up, much as a ball rolls down a hill. It now has more motion and more energy that in turn can be extracted. The process can be repeated until all of the objects have merged together or formed a black hole at the center. Life, I find, is a bit like this, in that the more energy you put into your pursuits, the more energy you have to do so. There are, of course, some limits to this analogy. Challenges are certainly part of life, whether we seek them out or have them handed to us. Being capable of facing our challenges, whatever they may be, is what drives success in all of its forms. Challenges are as individual as we are, and what defines success is equally individual and just as valid. You have faced challenges as part of your degree. You have overcome these challenges. You have achieved. You have undoubtedly faced adversity along the way, not just the normal adversity of a degree. Let us throw in a pandemic, where interactions and peer support, the core strengths of a university, were severely limited. That, too, you have overcome to be here today. What does the award of a university degree mean? It says that you have worked hard over several years to understand your academic subject. It signifies the body of knowledge achieved, the skills developed, the determination in overcoming adversity, and most importantly, the ability to address new ideas and questions that are at or beyond the edge of our current understanding. Hopefully, it also means years of growth, of making friends for life and having lots of fun. On my first day at university some 40 years ago, my advisor of studies explained what he saw as the remit of a university education. We are not here just to teach you a bunch of facts, but to help you to develop the ability to teach yourself. Knowledge can be gained by books, and perhaps even from the internet. Nurturing creative thinkers who can formulate and address questions that have not been asked previously is the goal of a university. This brings me back to challenges. You have the abilities and hopefully the confidence to be a creative thinker. This is why society and employers value university graduates. Over your life, you will face new challenges, some of your choosing and some that are presented to you. Deciding on what challenges are useful and feasible to tackle is key. We hope you will continue to keep learning throughout your life, to search out and achieve new challenges, and as the university motto says, ever to excel. Thank you.
Please stand for the benediction.
Oremus. Gratia Domini nostri Iesu Christi, et caritas Dei, et communicatio Spiritus Sancti sit cum omnibus nobis, in saecula saeculorum. Amen.